Hello, students. It's Pam Turner, and I am sorry that I haven't been able to broadcast for a while, but I've been a little busy. Just going to do some reminders for you just about the class in general, and then we'll talk about kind of this week's lesson. First of all, you guys are doing a really good job. Many of you are really staying up with the post. We're up to 5 and 6, and 5 and 6 are on obsessive compulsive disorder, so I'm going to actually go over that in a little bit, but there is a link for a video that you have to watch on 6. It's a YouTube video, so please watch it and comment on that video. That is the same as your post that week. And the next week is the book. There's actually some chapters, some questions in the back of the book. Please read the chapters, answer the questions the same as any other post. Be sure that you respond to your peers. Okay? So let me just kind of give you an overview of the class, and what you should see now is kind of the student preview. This is different from what I see, but this is what you should be able to see right now. I did some postings this week and some grading, so it should be closer to up to date. So like I said, the syllabus is here. If you see here, it says lessons. The syllabus is always there. I've made some recent changes to the syllabus, so if you were going by that strictly, then there have been a little bit of changes, so just check that out. Like I said, next week, week 5, your textbook, read case 5, answer all parts of the questions for us on page 73, and you probably need a resource other than your textbook. So that really may mean doing some looking on the interwebs. Wikipedia is not, I repeat, not a very good source. We'll talk about other sources in future classes, but just know that Wikipedia is not reliable. As I said, week 6, you have Do Tube 18. That's a video on obsessive compulsive disorder. Same rules as always. Remember that you have to do your original post with a minimum of 200 words. I need to know that you understood the concepts that are in the textbook. You then have to respond to 2 peers with a minimum of 100 words, and also not just I like this, but I like this, why, etc., etc., etc. Again, let me know that you really understand what they said and you're understanding the textbook, and maybe you're even pointing out something different. Again, if you have a personal experience, it's always appreciated. It doesn't have to be you. It can be someone else in your family, but always, always appreciated. And then also remember, please post those on at least 2 separate days. Many of you post all 3 days and you will not get full credit. It's like going to class. You don't get to just spend a few minutes in class and be done. I actually can log and see how often you log in. That lets me determine how much time you spend in class, and it's usually a pretty good connection with your grade. Let's see here. The posts also go away. So right now you don't see 1, 2, and 3, and 4 have all gone away. So there are no late posts. It goes away afterwards, and you do get a 0. So this is where it gets a little confusing. You have a couple of things you have to do. So in this class, you have to do a favorite movie that the characters demonstrate a mental health disorder in the book. Okay, there's some in there. If you have one you want to do that's not in the book, it's fine by me. Just let it run by me first, okay? So you do not, at this point, this is not a paper. At this point, on the 16th, that's the 16th of March, that is just your PowerPoint on the movie. The movie needs to be about the mental illness. You'll have to explain the mental illness through the PowerPoint and really kind of make it understandable for your peers. So you will then post those on, I'll make an area to post. I was going to say the blog, sometimes it's a little complicated, but I'll make an area to post. You have to respond to 2 of your peers regarding their post, okay? So that is due, posted by March 16th. I'll probably extend the due date to do the post 3 or 4 days out. Again, so to get full credit, you're going to watch a movie. We don't want to tell every detail, but it has to be enough that I understand. Do some research on the mental illness and why you chose that, why the character has that, what the rules, how do I know that that's what that is? Respond to 2 peers with 100 words, the same as you do with every other post. Okay, so then on the 13th of April, that same mental illness that you chose for your movie is what you're going to do a research paper on. The research paper has to be APA style. There is a link in this on your Facebook, on the site of how to do APA style, so you can really see what it looks like if you're not sure. But please, I take points off for APA style. That is due on the 13th. If you turn it in early, I will correct it, offer you some suggestions prior to the due date. However, if you turn in after that, I will not. I will just take points off. So do know that you have plenty enough, and if you really want to make a good grade, I am great with that. It does include a digital copy of the Encyclopedia of Social Work that is only accessible through our school library. Through the website. So it is not the paperback, but the digital copy. If you do not use that, I will not grade your paper. Okay, just so we're clear about that. You have to use one of the sources, has to be the Encyclopedia of Social Work. If you're not sure how to use it, how to access it, be sure that you just contact any member of the GNTC library. It's pretty easy to use, and you certainly do not have to be in the library. Below that, you see case 18 and case 19. I'll discuss those in full later, but for those last two cases, you are going to have to diagnose. In the end of the chapters we've been reading so far, you see the Axis 5 diagnosis. Most of you at this stage of your education will not be qualified to do an Axis 5 diagnosis. Many times that you have to be an actual psychiatrist or an LCSW, a licensed clinical social worker, or maybe even a certified psychologist. However, all of you will work in areas where you'll see the DSM and what it looks like. So you're going to have to diagnose these patients. At the bottom, there's also a link to the DSM and how to understand it. I will tell you again, I will do another videotape prior to those due, and I believe there's not a due date on those yet. I'll put a due date up shortly, but that'll be the end of April, the 1st of March. I'm sorry, end of April, 1st of May, just so that you know that those things will be done. So anyway, those are things that are coming up. So I just want to make sure you're fully aware of those. If you have any questions on that, just shoot me an email. I keep telling you I'm going to do a Facebook Live, and I really planned on it, but my life has gotten in the way. So there are some things. Also at the bottom, I did some PowerPoint videos. So if you're not really sure how to do a PowerPoint, go ahead and watch that, and we'll talk about that later. But that's how to do a PowerPoint. So there's some great video there. So anything is available on YouTube. One other thing I really want to go over is kind of obsessive compulsive disorder in general. I do know that this is your topic this week, and for many of you, it's a very real issue. So just kind of a little bit, obsessive compulsive personality disorder really does affect people's lives forever. You'll read a lot about it, and people kind of jokingly say they're OCD, but just so you understand the disorder. So what happens is our obsessions are our thoughts. It's a thought or urge in our head that we really just can't get rid of. For example, for some people, it's germs or sex or a lot of religiosity, just something that is in their head. Sometimes it's the numbers, but it's more than just a thought. It's an obsession. I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to do it. Those are thoughts. Compulsions are the behaviors that the individual feels they have to do, usually because of the thoughts. So if I think that everything is dirty and germs are covering everywhere, then my compulsion is to wash my hands, to clean everything, to constantly organize, clean. If it is, sometimes we see the obsessions with numbers. So I have to turn the light off 7 times before I can go to bed. I have to walk around the house 7 times. So the obsession is the thought, and the compulsion is what you do. So the way it works, though, is the anxiety comes when I don't satisfy my compulsion. So I will be when I don't satisfy my obsession. So I try. I got this obsession in my head. I know it's stupid. It makes no sense. Oh my gosh, what if I left the door unlocked? What if I left the door unlocked? What if I left the door unlocked? And all day I'm worried if I left the door unlocked. For many people, the anxiety gets so bad they have to actually go back home, no matter how far they live, to make sure that door is locked. So the obsessions are the thoughts, causes great anxiety, and then the compulsion relieves my anxiety. So again, thoughts of washing my hands. Just, oh, my hands are so filthy. The world is filthy. Can't stand it. It's gross. I get so anxious. I'm going to die. My baby's going to die. My neighbor's going to die if I don't wash your hands. The germs are everywhere. I can see the germs crawling on my skin. That's the anxiety. The thoughts in your head create all the anxiety. The compulsion is to clean, bleach down the entire house 17 times before you go to work. And that gives you temporary relief. And a lot of people then have that vicious cycle where they just cannot let go. Medication is one of the treatments, and definitely some cognitive behavior therapy. We talk about the irrationality of those thoughts. And when we look at medication, many times we're using the same as we use for an antidepressant. OCD is very much chemically the same as a depression or a anxiety disorder. Um, we all have some obsessions. That's kind of normal. What happens is how we know that we should be concerned is when we can't control them. And people say they can't. However, you can learn behaviors to control them, but that is if they're so, you can't sleep, you can't work, you can't function because of your obsessions, that's when we're concerned. Even after they understand the thoughts, they still can't stop it. Sometimes the rituals will be up to 1 hour a day or more than that you spend hours. I've known people who really could not go to sleep until they bleached their entire house. So really cutting into their normal functioning time because they're up to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning trying to bleach the house every single night. So when they're that disruptive, that's really when we decide to do something. And again, sometimes even when you work with people, unless they're very big disruptive, they might not even be aware that they have the obsessions. So I've probably shared with you before, I have a neighbor, and I've always wondered why. She lives across the street from me, and most of the people take a right just to head to the main street. We live in the cul-de-sac. Most people just come out and take a right and get on the main road. She drives to the left, comes up around the cul-de-sac, slowly stops in front of her house, and then goes to work. And I've never asked her, but I am very sure that's part of her treatment for the obsessive compulsive disorder. She's probably got some thoughts that she lives by herself. So maybe some thoughts of, leaving the garage open, someone being in her house, that causes anxiety. So in order to fix that, she's probably been taught or learned just to drive by and double check. And that relieves it. When you're driving by 7, 8, 9 times before work, then that's when you're very, very concerned about your obsessive compulsive disorder. So I will leave you with some information. There's some really cool stats on obsessive compulsive disorder. Approximately 1% of the population of the United States is affected by it. That's about 22 million adults. The disorder is equally as common as men and women. It's less noticeable in men. They may do things, straighten their tie, put their shoes in a certain order, but it's usually less invasive in their life as women. And women, of course, we are many more times more dramatic, more emotional, so we'll draw attention to ourselves. Most cases occur at approximately 19. Now, I have seen some children who really had some really bad childhood issues who've suffered from that, but most of the time around 18. Let's see here. Children with OCD may also experience ADHD, depression, and anxiety-related disorders, and those are all pretty much in the same category. Let's see here. Up to 70% of people who have OCD are able to greatly improve it in therapy, and genetics plays a small role in the OCD. Those who have a first-degree relative with the disorder are more likely, 5 times more likely to get it themselves. A first-degree relative. So, and again, that's still not sure if it's always the case, because if I'm living with someone, and I think that's normal, then as a child, I am going to repeat that behavior. I think it's normal that everybody washes their hands 7 times before they eat. I think it's normal that everybody, has to make the bed every certain way, and the pillows have to be a certain corner, or something awful will happen. So when you're a child growing up, you really often don't know what is normal as opposed to what is not normal. So just really cool stuff on OCD. I think we've talked a lot about it, but this is time a really good clinical definition, so we don't use it the same way lay people do. So this is your wonderful story on OCD disorder. Again, guys, remember to keep up your good work. You do have still your 4 hours you have to do. I have some things coming up in the future, but please don't forget that's a requirement for our program, that good 4 hours. Give me those great posts, and I'm going to promise you I'm going to go on Facebook one day this week, hopefully one day next week. I really appreciate it, guys, and have a great weekend.